Um, okay, so thank you for joining um, this library orientation and LibGuide orientation. And we have Professor Sophia Sotilio, who is going to give us an overview and help you with your research skills and tell us a little bit about LibGuides. And because we will be creating LibGuides this semester, hopefully. Okay, Professor Sotilio, thank you. We can't hear you.
I knew that.
Okay.
Thanks for having me. Yes, been in Zoom meetings all day. It's always that unmute button that catches us.
Yeah.
So this is our library orientation. What I'll be doing is going through some basic information that you probably already know, you probably already seen, and then kind of going a little bit more in depth once you've done some searches and some key things that'll help you with navigating your search and fine tuning your research and making sure and ensuring that you're having reliable resources. And then also, like we sharing a little bit about the LibGuides. So to get started, this is our webpage. To get to our webpage for everyone, you can just go in and do a search on the link, different ways, but I usually just go to academics and then libraries. And once you click on the libraries, you come to our website and our link. And at our link, for the most part, it shares a lot of information, but the active informations are the specific things that you can do within the libraries within this section. We do have a chat feature. Once the library is open, we have our chat hours that you can use as well. So if you're not able to come into the library for assistance, you can always just use our chat feature to ask questions. We also have our catalog. If you click on the catalog button, this takes you to give you access to books and ebooks that may be available to you for your research. Pretty simple search aspect as well. You have your search bar at the top. And once you put in your author, your subject, or a title of a book, you would be able to get that information. You can see the search or get that information. Most people start with like a topic or a subject matter. So if we were to put in, we're in the month of Black History. If I just put in like Black History, you'll notice that there's some areas that come up. It says everything, library catalog, EBSCO, course reserve, or label. Most students, I tell you, don't do everything, but do library catalog. If you click on library catalog, that specifically takes you to what Lincoln University has available in our library, what we particularly own. So like with any other search engine, you'll see the number of results you have. If on my far right, your left, you'll see what's available in the library, what's full text online. That means probably most likely like an ebook. And then you'll see it breaks it down by the resource type, by the subject matter, because that particular topic is very broad. I wasn't very specific on my topic, so it's giving me a bit of everything, but it gives me an opportunity to just see how the catalog works and how you can use it. There's even a language section where the different items that we have come in different languages. You might say, well, I don't need a book. We don't use books, but you could use a book. I tell a lot of students, don't shut down the aspect of one of your resources being a book. Sometimes a particular chapter in a book can help lead you to other resources. Sometimes a really good book that you find on your subject matter, you can go to their reference page, or you can see some of the resources they use for their research to guide you to your research. So don't rule out ever just taking a look at a book or two and looking at their chapter. You may not read the whole book, but you might look at like a chapter or two on a particular subject matter. If I just clicked on books and I happened to see a book that I thought would be really cool to use, to kind of look at, and you always remember that it's important that you cite your information. So if you're doing any type of literature review, annotated bibliography, citation is important. Again, if you're not citing correctly, you have plagiarism. that's taken place. So what I like about our catalog is that even if we use a book or use one of the resources from the catalog, once you click on the item that you like, you can just click the citation button and it gives you the citation for that book. You would then copy paste that to your link and just based on the format that you will be using, this is MLA, here's APA, here's Chicago. It gives you all the different information. One thing I'll remind students is that they're giving you the information for the citation, but it's not formatted. So you want to make sure that you're formatting it correctly based on the style that has been asked for you to do. But for the most part, all the information is here. If you decided you wanted to get this book in your hand and use it and work with it, here's the call number. It tells you that it's in the main collection of the library and it's available for you. It hasn't been checked out as yet. It's still available. It tells you how many copies. It tells you that it's loanable. And then sometimes we even give you references from that, almost like Amazon, like here's some other books you can use. And other list of items that we have. So I always like to share the catalog and remind students don't rule out, especially if you get caught where you're not quite finding what you need in your research. It's not a bad idea to kind of check out a book. Okay, kind of old school, but books are still cool. So now we'll go back to our main page and we'll look at our A to Z list for databases. We'll come back up to LibGuide. Your A to Z list of databases is where all of your journal articles or your articles will be, your newspapers, also another level of your ebooks research that you can look at. One of the reasons we love students to come here first is because you know that for the most part, you're going to have you have reliable resources and you'll have full access to the articles once you have located the articles or the information that you need. It's the worst thing to do research and you pick an article or you pick an item and then you don't have access to the full article or the full information. So we tell students to try to use your library resources to get started. We have 111 databases. Within those databases are thousands and thousands of journals. Here's my little chat thing that comes up. So thanks. So what we do is we tell students to look at the subject matter. What's your subject that you're going to be doing research on? Start there. So if you click on subjects, you would then, if you pick a subject, let's say it's environmental science. Out of those 111 databases, it'll give you the 15 databases that focuses on your subject matter, right? That kind of helps with the doing research in an effective way, because if not, you'll be trying to like go through all of those different databases and that won't help. So with these 15, I can look through to see which database will really speak to what my topic is or what I'm looking to do. There's a quick summary of each database that will lead you to what you're looking to do. I do know that some people, for the most part, or some students start with Academic Search Ultimate first. They always say, okay, let me just start general because it has Academic Search Ultimate has a wide range of different topics and different journals and databases you can look at. Normally, you wouldn't have to put your library ID login in unless you were off campus, but right now they have it where once you click on a database, you have to put your library ID in, or your Lincoln ID, and then your last name, and it'll bring you to the database to do your search. So it's almost the same thing as if you were off campus. You are now doing the same thing on campus. We're working that out to see if we can get past that, but for right now, we are at this point where we're putting our login information in. So now we're at our search engine you can see at the top, you're in the Academic Search Ultimate. Let's say you wanted to add more databases. You say, okay, I'll do this search, but I want to add more. If you click on choose a database, you can now come and add some additional databases if you change your mind. You decide, you know what, I want another subject matter that I want to look at. So I'm going to also click on Academic Search Main Edition, and then you could say, okay. This way now you have more than one database you're kind of looking at. And let's say we want to, our subject matter for environmental science is water pollution. And like with any search engine that you use, the most common searches will come up as you begin to type in your letters or your subject matter. So right here we saw with just water pollution, I was able to pull up some other subject matters that have brought up. And I'm going to pick water pollution effects on the environment. If I would have picked just water pollution, it goes back to that general kind of search, which is very broad, and you want to narrow the search. If you don't narrow the search, you'll have to do more work with refining the search as you get in. Let me go ahead and pick water pollution and show you how that works. So with water pollution, I'll just put that and I pick search. With water pollution, I have over 65,000 results. Of course, you only need maybe 10, right? Maybe you need 5 or 10. How do we narrow our search? We can start by asking for full text. So my left, your right on the screen, you can pick full text. And the minute you begin to put the limits on your search, you'll see your results change, which is what we talk about narrowing your search. I also, most of the time when we're doing scholarly research, you want to make sure that you're clicking peer reviewed. You want to make sure that you have peer reviewed articles, ensuring that these are reliable searches from academic journals that will support and answer your research question. Also, depending on the type of search you do, you can limit the publication date. Usually dealing with health and science and things of that nature, they tell you to use within 5 to 10 years. But if you're doing a historical search, it might not be where you limit the year. But even with a search, sometimes you have limits on your years. So feel free to use this publication date. By just moving the bar over, you can pick a time frame and it'll begin again to narrow the search. Then it gives you also different types of information. Although we ask for peer reviewed, we noticed that they have us with some reviews, some magazines, some conference materials. You can again just say, I want to make sure I have academic journals, because there are other types of resources that are peer reviewed. So you can decide how you want to, what kind of source types you use, and you can put that limit on as well. Then you have your subject thesis terms, which is really cool, and your subjects. What is good about this area is, to my point, I just put in water pollution, very broad subject matter. Let's say you didn't know what you wanted to focus on. You can use these thesis terms or the subject matter to narrow your research. And you could say, oh, I didn't think about it, but what I do want to know about water pollution is the water quality. What about water pollution and water quality? So with just a few buttons in less than a minute, I went from a 65,000 search result to 123 with my top 10. You can now decide the relevance of it. On my far right, your left, you could say how you want the relevance of I want mine to be relevant based on the limits that I put, or you can ask it for the newest date or the oldest date or by the source. You can do it in various ways to look at it. When I clicked on those the water pollution specific under that subject matter of water quality, it did the same thing where it kind of narrowed my search as well under the subject matter. And I can now say, oh, I want to talk about, I like the idea of talking about water pollution and water quality, but how we monitor it. So with me clicking on that particular subject matter, I'm now down to my 10 main articles that I could look at. And that's what we talk about when we talk about narrowing your search. Even if you did put a very specific subject matter in that you did your search, you can always use that side of the web page to help you narrow your search and just find the key things that you're looking for. So in this 10 articles under water pollution, dealing with water quality and how we monitor it, this is the subject matter that we're talking about. These are what those 10 articles are about. It also shares who the publishers are. Sometimes I know that professors will say, I want you to specifically use information from a specific journal type. So you would do your search and then you look for the publisher, and then you can find that information with all the information that you shared within the search. You can also make sure to limit that it's in a language that you want, if just in case there are extra titles that come up in a different language. This is all ways to narrow the search. Now, once you're in your search, you have your articles that you think will be great. You can now go in further and look at them. You have here, it's a full text article. You can do it in a PDF form. This particular article has it in HTML as well as PDF. In which HTML, which is kind of nice for students or for anyone doing research, is you're allowed to listen to the article as well. So sometimes, especially articles for the sciences, I struggle with some of the words and the lengthy words and pronouncing them. I like the fact that I can listen to the article and follow along. So anything that I can't quite understand or can't, I'm unable to kind of spell out or speak of, I can hear it and hear how they spelled it out, how they sounded it out. So HTML is kind of cool. Then also, we go back to the different things you can do with this article. If you're doing a lot of research, I always share with students all the way at the top, create a folder for all of your research. This way, once you do this search, you can save it in a folder, and at any time you can go back. So there's a process to research, as we all know, right? There's a process where you kind of go in and you look at your subject matter, you get all of the articles, and then now you kind of save them, and then another day you might go in and read them. So this is a way to put them in a folder or put them in a section where when you come back, you know that they're there, as opposed to printing all of them or putting them in a folder that either you'll probably forget, or sometimes you can email them to yourself. There's quite a different things you can do with them. EBSCOhost now gives you the opportunity to put them in a Google Drive. Whichever way works for you. I like the folder because not only does it save the article for you, it also saves your search strategies. So you may say, what do I mean by search strategies? So remember how at first I just put water pollution, and then after I got a search for water pollution and monitoring, and then I got one on different. So as you continue to change your search, it saves each search for you. So let's say you forgot, where did I see that article before? If you have a folder in EBSCOhost or in some of the other databases that has the same type of feature, you can just open your folder, go in, look for your searches, and then pull that article up again. So there's various tools that you can use within each database that can really help you with managing your research and the articles that you choose. So the folder is one tool. Under the other tools, you have the Google Drive that you can use. When it says added to a folder, that's the folder we were talking about that you create. You could print it, you could email it to yourself, you can save it in other different means of on a flash drive, so on and so forth. You can export it. You can create a note if you'd like as well. Of course, the most important thing we talk about is making sure that we cite the article if you're using it to in your report. So if you click on the citation button, here is the citation format that you can use. And based on the format that you have, here's all the information for that citation. Again, you copy and paste that onto in your report, but make sure that the formatting is correct. The information they're giving you is good, but the formation is not correct. So you want to make sure to format it correctly. Once you copy and paste your citation and you're done, you just click off of it and it brings it back to your article. Noticing also that in every article, once you pull up the full text, it gives you a kind of index to the article. You might not need the whole article. You might not need to read the whole article. A lot of peer-reviewed articles are very lengthy when they come from academic journals. So sometimes you just want to focus on a specific area. You can look at the index, and once you click on that area, it'll go right to that section of the article. So there's various tools within once you pick your article that you can use to continue your research on that article. So that's our A to Z database listing. If we go to a different database, for instance, such as JSTOR, looks a little different, but it's pretty much the same concept. Okay, same concept, but different. Here's the search engine. JSTOR is another database that is very well and often used. If in this content, we will do just a search on Black history and women. And just to share, the search looks a little bit different, but it's the same concept. Different types of tools. And in JSTOR, you also have book chapters and you also have research reports. And you also have images, which I think is kind of cool, that you can actually pull up some images and just focus on images as well. And again, here you are with the different ways that you can refine that search. And that's in JSTOR. So once you go into a tool, once you go into a database, one of the things you're doing along with your research is seeing what tools are available so that once you find the information you have or you're looking for, you can, you know how to utilize it and how you want to use it. If I pick this women's history image, it gives me all the information about it. Kind of move my Zoom picture around. Hopefully you can see. Gives me the item date. It gives me all of the information, and it gives us the source. Where does it come from and who owns the copyright to the image, right? Which is a little bit different than an article, but you can, if you needed to, and you're allowed to, if you're using images, you can as well. You want to also notice that you have to cite that as well. And here's the cite button for that. Let's move my Zoom over a little bit. Looks a little different, but it's the same concept, making sure that you cite whatever you are pulling to utilize in your research. And then different formats, and then you copy, put it in your research paper. And as well, you have other options. You can share this with yourself in various ways. You can just download it, save it to your terminal, or you can save it. But looks a little bit different than EBSCOhost, but the same concept. You can still do research and get the information you need. Another, so once again, when you choose a database, it's really making sure that you understand the tools and the different links that are within the database to help refine your search, and also making sure that you can now export and use whatever reference and information that you found in a way, whether it's through your email, through folders, and then always remembering to cite the information, making sure that we don't forget to cite the information once we found it. So again, you have numerous of sources. Is anything wrong with Google? Absolutely not. Google Scholar? Absolutely not. The only thing we find is that we the limit to access certain information once you're using those sources. So remember that it's not a bad thing, but if you kind of come here first and start, it's a good thing to help with timeliness and being able to do your research in an efficient and effective way. So now we're going to go back to our list of what can we do, what do we do? And now we're going to go to what I usually share after all that information is interlibrary loan. There are times that you will not have access to something that you need. Please remember that as a full-time student here at Lincoln, or full-time faculty or administrator, staff, whoever, through interlibrary loan, you can get the information you need. So for instance, you did your research using our resources, you didn't find anything, but you did find something on Google, but you didn't get access to that article. You can come back to your interlibrary loan form and request that article through our interlibrary loan, and you will still get that information. We have been doing very well, especially during these COVID times, so that if you choose an article, we've been able to get that article within 24 to 48 hours, depending on where it's coming from, or the request, or the limit of access that's available for us. You just fill out the form, fill out the information, whether it's a book, a video, an image, whatever it is that you need. You fill out the interlibrary loan information as much as you can, and don't forget to sign the electronic signature. And the interlibrary loan department within the library will get back to you, letting you know that we've received your request. Your item is going to come. When it comes, you get it. And this is no charge. We do have students, I've even had faculty and administrators say, I just paid for an article. You didn't have to pay for it. Through interlibrary loan, it's a free offer. Just come here and request anything that you are unable to get through our databases or through our catalog in any of our resources as you're doing research. So please don't forget that you have interlibrary loan to also assist. We will say though, don't wait till the last minute. If you wait till the last minute, sometimes it's going to take longer to get certain things. We never know. We have full access from all over the world. So you just want to make sure you're requesting information in a timely manner so that no one gets frustrated about not having access to information. Now we'll go to our LibGuides.
Can we
Yep.
stop here for a second,
Sure.
Sophia, and see if they have any questions? And yeah, so the interlibrary loan, you know, those have due dates, so you have to keep an eye on those if you take anything through interlibrary loan.
And
Yeah.
we'll always remind you of that. That
Okay.
your library book is due, or this item is
Right.
due back, and there are penalties if you don't return them.
Right.
Because now that book doesn't even belong to us, it belongs to someone else, so it comes with a price. You would have to pay the cost of the book, the cost of putting the book back on the shelf. There's a lot of fees, so we just say, just like any other book you take out or you get loaned, please return it.
Okay, Manaya and Siani, do you have any questions? Manaya?
And I see Tyreek just came on, so.
Yeah. Hi, Tyreek. Okay. Okay.
Do you have any questions, Brenda or Marlene or anybody?
Just I'd like to see the ebooks.
Sure.
You may have went over that, but I was on the phone.
That's okay. So you can access some of our ebooks through our catalog when we were in our catalog list, or you can access it through our A to Z database list. If you just click on E when you're on our dashboard here, you will see the ebook academic collection and the ebook collection. And you can click on both to do your search. And we'll also just go right in and click on the other ebook collection. We have two, and we'll say okay. And it's pretty much almost like looking at an article. You can, if we pick this particular ebook, because here's all the ebooks featured that came up. And if you click on it, you should have full access to it. Here's the full PDF. Here's the full EPUB full text. And here's all the information that goes with that ebook. And you can pretty much do the same thing as you did with all the other features and tools for that book.
I love ebooks. Sorry.
I'm not a big fan, but I'll use it if that's all I have for research. So you do have full access to these. And like the others, you have your table of content where you can go right to that area regarding that subject matter. It'll load it up for you and it will give. Now, depending on your internet access and the time it takes, sometimes it takes a minute to load with ebooks because of the large volume that it is, the content. So just give it a few minutes to load. And you have the full access to your ebook right at your fingertips. Okay.
Marlene, Marlene, do you have anything?
This is great, to the students that are, hopefully refreshing this and going through it. I mean, I use it, and my FYE students use it because of my project. So, the library and everything it has to offer has become my best friend. So I'm all for, them learning and really understanding how to use it. I wish more students did use it, but no, this is great.
Yeah. The more that they're exposed to it, they of course get to use it. So we just have to continue to expose and share the information.
Exactly.
They'll learn to rely on it and love it as well.
Exactly.
One of the things I could share while we're in here is whenever you see anything blue, these are hyperlinks. So they can help you or take you to the next level of your research. So for instance, you're requested to have 5 resources, but you can only find this one this one article or this one ebook, but you need more and you just can't seem to come up with the right keywords. So, you know, when we went in and we put in environmental, water pollution, so on, those were some keywords we put in our search. Let's say it didn't really yield the results you were looking for. Even if you found one good article, these hyperlinks can help you and extend your article, extend your research. So you can look at what keywords did they use, or what subject matter did they look at. Oh, they looked at environmental toxicology. I would have never thought to use toxicology as a keyword. But if I just click on environmental toxicology, it now takes me to a whole new research.
Right.
So even though I may not have had that keyword or that subject matter, just because of that link or that information in that one article, now I'm brought to another set of information that just might be what I needed to help on my research. So always remember, don't get frustrated if you can only find that 1 or 2 and you need 5 or 10. Just go into the ones that are working well for you that you did find, and kind of look at their resources, kind of look at their information that they shared. What keywords are they using? What references have they used? What authors, what journals did they look at? And you can back into your research in that way as well. So there's various ways of connecting and working and within your research.
I'm going to ask a question that might help them. So, I'm going to play the role of a student right now. So in looking at that, if I'm looking at an article like you had the ebook that was there, and they listed a source that they use, does that still count as my primary source, or is that a secondary source because it was a primary for them?
That's a good question. I would say, some people say it's still your primary source because that's your research and that became your primary source that you used within your research. It's their primary too because of their research. So it still becomes a primary resource. It doesn't become secondary because you were able to get it from another source. It's still primary for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, any other questions we have? You know, and the more you use it, the more you learn about, one, how you do research and how you can refine your search and your process. And you also learn about all the new tools that are right within there. Sometimes they would change things in the databases that we ourselves don't even get a chance to see until we are in it and we're using it. So that's why we always encourage to use the resources and use the information so you can see all that's available for you. I always love the fact that there's even videos available. So our resources provide everything in a one-stop shop where you have full access without having to pay anything or request anything outside of from anyone else. So just with this particular search, I'm able to get videos as well. Is this considered a source? It can be. Can it be considered reliable and peer reviewed? It can be. And so this is some of the information that you can then work out with your professors or whoever you're working with. Can this be used as one of my resources as well? So let's see. So we did the catalog. We did the A to Z list databases. We talked about our interlibrary loan. We talked a little bit about how to log in from off campus. If you're having trouble, you can click on this link and it will take you to all of the resources. If you're running into issues, a simple phone call to the library will help, or you can chat with us. Just put us in the chat and we can help you from there as well. So now let's go to our LibGuides. And what is LibGuides and what is it all about? So if I click on LibGuides, this will give you a list of all of our published LibGuides. I'm just going to go into one of our LibGuides. There's so many to choose from. I'm going to go to the most recent one that was made that everybody's excited about in our library. I know I am. Kind of scroll down to it. Do I see it? Do I see it? PQRS. Huh, how come I don't see it? I'm gonna have to go back. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's go to performing arts just for the fun of it. So LibGuides is like what we considered an area that has all the information for a particular subject matter or I'm sorry, my phone just went. A particular phone matter or a particular subject matter. I said phone matter, subject matter that's created to kind of help and guide you through the research and give you some information. You can use it for various subject matters or various things that you may want to talk about or have as a resource to share with others and for everyone to go to. This one in particular about performing arts. You can create different tabs to speak to specific areas of your topic that you're interested in. And within these guides, you can then put the information that links to that particular subject matter. There's always a home page, and then you can put articles that speak to that particular home page to help guide them to that research, right? You can really kind of do your research and create a LibGuide so that others can use your research as a guide and for information. So here we have the websites that speak to performing arts. We have the books that specifically speaks to performing arts. We have manual and research tips. And then we even share professional organizations about performing arts. Right now, librarians and people in the library are the only ones that can create these LibGuides, but we work with other individuals on campus to create these LibGuides. So whatever LibGuide you're interested in or wanting to create, we would work with you to create it. I am looking to see if I can give access to whoever I want to go out and learn how. It is not an easy task. Let me just say that, to create a LibGuide. LibGuides do take some form of, oh, here's the one I was looking for, coffee table collection. LibGuides do take some work to learn how to create and put together the different sizes and the different boxes and the different tabs and all the information that may go with it. So it takes time to learn how to do it. So that's why I said there's a certain skill set around it. That's why we say work with the librarian to get started, and then you develop it. Creating a LibGuide takes a minute, but once it's created, you have a beautiful resource that you can use and share with others. Okay, and you can link it back to your other guides and to other information as well. So again, we have many LibGuides out there that you can work with, look at, and use. We create data. So every time you go to a LibGuide, it shows us how many people have been in that LibGuide, how many people looked at it. We can even create LibGuides for a course. So we've created LibGuides for the African American Experience course. We've created it for whatever you need. And then what we do is we just simply maybe put all the articles that the professor may want you to read, and then link some other sources to that particular LibGuide or source or resource. So you can do however you'd like with that LibGuide, but right now it's housed within the library. But once we work together to create it, we then publish it, and everyone has full access to it. And when we publish it, that access is not only internally at Lincoln, it is all over. Whoever has access to our website has access to our LibGuide. So we've had people ask, can they use our LibGuide in their classroom settings? We've had individuals ask if we can add information from their business or from their class or their corporation in our LibGuide. The LibGuide is far used in various ways. And that's our LibGuide section.
So
very useful tool.
Tyreek
I love
and
working
Solomon
with it.
are going to be working on humanities, and Siani is going to be working on online learning topics. So we may want to sit down with you to go over how we're going to do this. But I know Frederick has already started our previous Mellon students on some research, and I'm sure he has some articles where we will be linking them to a LibGuide.
No problem. And if you want, you can begin, basically go in and you have access to the LibGuides that are published. Kind of go in and take a look at the different LibGuides and see how they're set up. And then you can tell us how, that will help with beginning your process of creating it. Kind of saying, oh, I know I want it to look like this, or this is kind of how I'd like it to look. So take a look at the different LibGuides and see which ones you'd be interested in creating or formatting the way you want it formatted. How many tabs you want, how many spaces you want. There's so many ways to do it.
Yes. Thank you, Sophia. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments?
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is this being recorded?
Yes, Tyreek.
Okay, thank you.
And
You're
Brenda's
welcome.
gonna edit it. So all the times I said like and then I answered my phone.
I'm not sure about that because I would if I had a computer that I could edit it with, but this little laptop, it's hard to edit videos. You see, I'm having to wear my glasses now when I look at the.
No worries, but again, we're always available. I think that's the key thing. Sometimes when I go through sessions, it's pretty quick and I'm clicking and moving. But the key thing to remember is that anytime you can come by and ask for assistance for any of the information, or if you get stuck in the process of doing your research or doing any work within the library, we're here and available to assist.
Yes. Yes, yes. Use them well. That's what they're great. They are absolutely great. So, don't ever be afraid to go over and ask questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. Hey, so, get what you need, and be confident in, they'll be able to help you get where you need to go.
Yeah, that's how you gain knowledge, by asking questions.
That's it. That's it.
Yes. Well, thank you, Professor Satilia. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
No problem.
And we
Thank you for being here.
We look forward to working with you.
Okay, sounds good. I'm looking forward to working with you as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll stop sharing. Yep.
I'm going. Okay, have a good night, everyone.
You too. Good night, everyone. Thank you.